Hello, everyone. It's Aaron Fink from Grapple City Rewind. If you like what you hear on this episode, give us a review. Give us a 5-star review, just like Dave Meltzer. You maybe even 7 stars if you feel like it. It'll go a long way in helping us to be discovered by more wrestling fans like you. And if you like this episode, we've got 20 plus other episodes you could listen to. There's a bunch of evergreen content. We talk about old pay-per-views. Give them a listen. You just might laugh. All right, let's cue that music.
Hello, and welcome to Grapple City Rewind, taking you all the way back to the iconic pay-per-views that shaped pro wrestling history. Today, we are rewinding all the way back to 1994, when I was probably the most in love with wrestling as a young preteen boy. This is Survivor Series 1994, because we are in Survivor Series territory with it being November and all. We're talking Vince and Gorilla Monsoon wearing cowboy hats, talking about the Alamo and stuff, you know, that mid 90s aesthetic, and with the neon lights and the loud graphics and some deeply weird matches, some kind of cool, like technical stuff. We'll get into all of that and more. I'm Bradley Palermo, here as always with Aaron Fink. And Aaron, before we go back to 1994 and talk about Survivor Series, I know that you went to 40 Years of Foley, was it a spoken word Mick Foley set the other night?
Yeah, I went to the Irvine Improv at the Spectrum Center down in Orange County, California. It was kind of like almost like a stand-up night. You know, he had 2 opening comics before him.
Oh, wow.
One of them was sort of like the host or whatever. The second guy was actually telling jokes, and there were actually a pretty good amount of wrestling jokes, which was fun.
Oh, that's cool.
And then Foley came out, and yeah, he was funny, but he was mostly just telling stories, observations, and things that he had experienced. He talked about Terry Funk for quite a bit, some of the really early days of him on the with ECW and in Japan. He talked about the match that he lost his ear, and he talked about Hell in a Cell with Undertaker, and then he did a Q&A for like 20-30 minutes. So yeah, it was cool.
Did you get to ask a question?
I did not.
No, you didn't.
I couldn't think of anything. It was, I enjoyed it. I had a lot of fun. I think for diehard fans like you and me, maybe there wasn't all that much new information per se. Like it wasn't like a expose or anything like that, but it was cool to see him and hear him talk. He's obviously very well spoken and very funny. He has good timing.
Yeah.
And always has. So yeah, I enjoyed it quite a bit.
I wonder what he does now besides these like one-man shows, because I think he wrapped up the podcast he had.
Mm-hmm.
And you see him sometimes like acting a bit on heels or whatever, but I wonder what he's spending his time on lately.
Probably just like, I mean, so the thing that I learned about this show is I think all of the money that was raised in ticket sales and in merch sales and stuff like that, it all went to the Cauliflower Alley Club, which is, you know, for people who don't know, it's a pro wrestling organization that gives out awards to people for their achievements throughout their careers, but also they endeavor to help wrestlers who are, you know, I should say retired wrestlers who are on hard times, whether that's they don't have a job or they, you know, don't have a place to live or whatever. So yeah, it's like a very good, I think it's a charitable organization, but yeah, that was what all the proceeds of that night were going towards. And I think he said at the show that he had already raised something like $40,000 or $50,000. So
that's cool.
Yeah, super cool.
Did you see our dude CM Punk is finally like for real world champion in WWE, which I was excited about, and that's happened since we last spoke.
Yeah.
I mean, I know the match was kind of mocked between him and Jay. The WWE World Heavyweight title, of course, vacant because Seth freaking Rollins got injured. So somehow it ended up where Jay Uso and CM Punk went 1-on-1 on Saturday night's main event, and that was for the title, the World Heavyweight title, and Punk won. I mean, he's getting old, and I really wanted to see a run before he looks any fucking older than he already does.
Yeah.
So I'm actually really excited right now. You got the Cody Rhodes is Universal Champion on the other side, and not a whole lot's really happening for me with that struggle. So I kind of want to see what Punk does with his championship.
Yeah, for sure. I was excited to see him win and hold it for more than 5 minutes.
Right. Yeah. The other time it was brief. Yeah.
Yeah, when
Real
he beat
brief.
Gunther at SummerSlam, I think it was.
Mhm.
So yeah, I'm super stoked, happy for him. I've heard people say, and maybe even him say, like he doesn't need a championship, and I don't disagree with that. But I do like him, and I think that he has good feuds with people. He knows how to tell good stories. So even though he doesn't need to be champion, I think that it creates opportunities to make good content, to make good stories with other wrestlers.
Yeah, I mean,
And
what's the best way to put over a younger wrestler than by eventually dropping the title to one? So
yeah. And, on Monday Night Raw, he got into it with Logan Paul a bit and also the Vision.
LA Knight get into that too.
Yeah, I mean he's been vying for the championship as well. So I know that, it's
No, maybe it was just Logan and Punk after the Vision.
Yeah, no.
Yeah.
So Punk and Jay teamed up in a tag match against
Yeah.
the Vision. And then at the end, I think it was like a double count out or something. And then the Vision were attacking Jay, they were attacking Punk. And then Logan Paul came out, and you almost thought for a sliver of a second that maybe Logan was going to help Punk.
Right. I remember that. Yeah.
And then he pulled out his brass knucks and looked like he was going to attack the Vision, but then he turned and he knocked Punk out. So
yeah.
I assume that they're maybe going to do another triple threat or fatal four-way at Survivor Series, which kind of annoys me. I'd rather just see him in a one-on-one feud with somebody, but
Absolutely, dude. I just bought tickets to that, so I don't want to see three ways and shit.
who knows? It could be him and Logan. That to me is a great feud, the two of them.
Yeah, Logan's really good. I'd like to see that, but also I feel like what I really want to see is LA Knight and CM Punk.
That would be good
Survivor
too.
Series. But I guess I'm just making this up in my head that's what I'm pulling for. But
I mean, that's what we do.
it's two baby faces technically, I guess.
Yeah, that's true. And, LA Knight definitely has sort of been almost in a kind of limbo for a while. And unfortunately, I don't think that Punk would drop the belt to LA Knight. So I don't know that it would really do all that much for LA Knight in the grand scheme of things.
That's true. It's kind of like, what do you do with that guy at this point? It's like he was so hot a couple years ago.
And I just kind of missed it.
He never got into like the world title picture. He certainly never won it.
But he's in it now.
Yeah,
so
I mean, eventually he'll end up with it, but it's just I feel like he's cooled off and he's kind of come back, but like I don't know. I guess WWE's got me all into wanting to see stories be finished.
Mhm.
So I'm like, okay, I really wanted to see when Punk would get it. Now I kind of need to see LA Knight. These are all guys that are like in their 40s, So I'm kind of like, all right, we don't have a lot of time with this batch anymore. So before we move on, let me see you guys make some shit happen with
yeah. I don't disagree with you on that either. I think they just need the right time. It just doesn't feel like the right time for LA Knight anymore. It definitely was a couple of years ago, like you were saying, when he was getting huge crowd reactions. And I mean, I think, didn't he win like a battle royal and the place like lost their shit? It was like a meaningless battle royal.
Right, because I think it was like a consolation prize because it was like everyone wanted him to win the Rumble a couple years ago, and he did.
Or like Money in the Bank, maybe not this year, but last year. I think he was in that, and people were pissed. But we'll see. I'll be patient with that. The other thing I was curious to get your thoughts on is the John Cena tournament, like the tournament to be John Cena's last opponent.
You know what? I think if they don't have John Cena available for multiple appearances to hype up his final match, and all they get him for are like a couple of the last match, and that's it, then I suppose the tournament keeps some sort of drama and action happening involving the last match without Cena having to really be there. So I
Well,
think
he does have 4 more appearances, I think.
okay, all
So
right.
tomorrow, Monday Night Raw, I believe, is in Boston, and then I think the Raw after that is in the Garden, or maybe it's, I don't know. There's
Yeah.
another Raw, and it's at Madison Square Garden. He's also going to be at Survivor Series, and then it's his last match at Saturday night's main event. So he's got 4 appearances left.
Is he going to wrestle at Survivor Series?
I don't know.
Yeah.
I would assume not, but I'm almost getting a sense. So going back to Punk and the Vision for a second, we still don't know what the War Games match is going to be.
Right.
And I know they're going to have one. So I'm kind of thinking maybe it's going to be like Punk, Jay, and some other people versus the Vision. And you need at least 4 people on a team. So right now, the Vision has Braun Breaker, Bronson Reed, maybe Logan Paul. I kind of think maybe the fourth member of that team would be Brock Lesnar.
Yeah.
And if you have Brock Lesnar on the Vision side, maybe you get Cena on Punk's side. So it's like Cena, Jay, LA Knight, and Punk.
Oh, and then Cena could have like a small
Yeah.
victory over Lesnar where he's the actual, gets kind of like, you kind of got to finish with the good guy winning, right?
Yeah, but then if I think about it a little too hard, I'm like, I don't know if Brock would actually do a War Games match. It seems like a lot for him, and he's got a very specific type of match that he has now. But that's like my hope is that if there is a War Games match, it's not the MFTs versus the Wyatt Six or whatever, because that'd be stupid.
Yeah, I think I'll just
leave
stay
early.
home, leave early. Yeah.
Yeah, no, I would, I mean, I would love to see the Vision with Brock Lesnar and Logan Paul against Punk, Jay, LA Knight, and Cena. I think that'd be a really, really fun War Games. But the tournament itself, I'll be honest, I'm kind of underwhelmed by, especially because they're telling us all of the participants or most of the participants in the tournament. I'm like, now that I know who's in it, or at least I know like I know 7 of the 8 people in the first 4 matches. I'm like, oh, that person's going to win. That person's going to win. It's like taking all the fun out of it. I would have much rather had a tournament where it's like, okay, here's the first match of the first round and you don't know who it is. And that's why you tune in to Raw, because you want to see who it is.
I feel like tournaments in pro wrestling are generally bad. Yeah. I mean, King of the Ring never really caught my attention that much. It was like, yeah, I might want to see the last match, but I don't really want to see everything that leads up to it. And I feel like
it just takes the wind out of my sails. The only tournament I really like is like a G1 style, like the Continental Classic or whatever they call it in AEW, and then obviously the G1 in New Japan. But there is a mystery opponent for somebody on SmackDown next week, and that's kind of fun.
I guess it makes SmackDown and Raw, I guess it could make it somewhat interesting. I really do feel like television for wrestling, and maybe I'm burnt out on it or whatever, but the week-to-week stuff on both AEW, but especially WWE right now, it's just like I watch the intros or whatever whatever promos they do at the beginning, and maybe a main event, but like it just feels like really rough to get through these hours of television. So I guess if you give me a reason, maybe this John Cena thing could make it interesting. I'll watch it if I turn it on and you actually make me want to see what happens next, but most of the time they don't.
Yeah, I mean, the thing is, it's like, I can't remember what the matches are, but it's like Sheamus against Shinsuke, or like Rusev against Miz, or I don't know.
I don't want to see any of that. No, none of those guys. Yeah.
I think it's Miz versus a mystery opponent, and people online seem to think it could be Joe Hendry. I think that would be fun.
Yeah.
But if it's Joe Hendry, I'm like, well, he's making it to the finals because he's probably going to be the one to face Cena.
Oh my god,
because like that would be interesting. So far I think we know.
Didn't he face Cena at WrestleMania?
No, he faced Randy Orton.
Randy Orton, yeah.
Yeah, but he's been talking this entire year about how he wants to face Cena. Joe Hendry has. So
I mean,
it would be a big get for him. And
I was gonna say that's a little bit out of his,
well, he's manifesting it, you know.
like, perceived league, but I admire it if he gets it. You know,
He's been on NXT a bunch. He hasn't really been on TNA at all. So I assume he's eventually coming to WWE.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's like Sheamus versus Shinsuke is a match. And I'm like, well, Sheamus is going to win that, obviously. You know, like I can, like, that's the thing about knowing who the people are in the tournament is like I can pick out who the winners are because they have history with Cena. And so they're like trying to build up this tension. But I'm excited to see who the mystery opponent is. I mean, I would lose my shit if it was Edge, but I just don't, it just doesn't seem possible. Like, I guess it is possible maybe, but I'd be shocked. That would be pretty crazy.
Jericho
would also be super crazy. And I feel like it'd almost be a waste. I'd rather see Jericho at the Rumble.
Yeah.
And now it's time for the rewind.
All right, we're rewinding to WWF Survivor Series 1994, which was November 23rd of that year at the Freeman Coliseum in San Antonio, Texas, to an attendance of 10,000 people. On commentary, we had Vince McMahon and Gorilla Monsoon. They open it up in cowboy hats, and they are hyping up that Alamo. It's a monumental struggle, the Alamo, just like we'll have here tonight, Vince McMahon says, which is kind of true. There's quite a struggle. I don't know if it's the way he meant it. This is more of a struggle between the old school, like sort of traditional professional wrestling and the very, very cartoon 90s professional wrestling.
Yeah.
Maybe a monumental struggle between legit looking sport and bullshit. I don't know.
Cartoony bullshit. Yeah.
We get a little kickoff with a shot of all the teams cutting promos from their locker rooms. Kind of a usual opening for WWF around this time. They're getting ready for war, is what they say. It doesn't really have a lot of intensity. Vince is trying to really sell it like it's a really big deal. But let's go ahead and get into the first match, which was the bad guys versus the Teamsters.
Yes, and this is a 5-on-5 Survivor Series elimination match, which we don't really see in modern day anymore. We maybe like 7-8 years ago there was one of these, but not in a while. And the bad guys team was the 1-2-3 Kid, British Bulldog, Razor Ramon, and then Fatu and Sione. And then the Teamsters was Diesel and Shawn Michaels, Jeff Jarrett, Jim Neidhart, and Owen Hart.
And Diesel and Shawn Michaels at this time are the tag team champions. And if anyone doesn't know,
like his enforcer, right? Or something.
Yeah, and they call him Big Daddy Cool Diesel, which is kind of a mouthful. But if anyone doesn't know how the 5-on-5 elimination match works, it's a tag team match with way too many guys on each side. And when you pin someone from the other team, then the other team loses. That person has to go away. The rest of the members, you have to pin 5 people to win.
Yeah.
So this thing started off, I thought, kind of slow because they went a while, man, before they eliminated anyone. So, you just get a lot of back and forth. And I mean, we can go ahead and say Owen Hart is like extremely hated. They blew the shit out of him.
Yeah.
Bulldog and Owen started off. And I mean, they do have some good chain wrestling, right? I mean, there were some good things about it, like mat holds and like crisp sequences. The crowd loves British Bulldog, and they definitely hate Owen. And Double J, is out there, and he does his like Ric Flair arm strut thing.
The Fargo strut, I think is what he calls it.
Is that what it is? The Fargos? Do you like Jeff Jarrett's? Do you like his strut better than Ric Flair's strut?
No. Ric Flair's strut's much better, but I think that's kind of the point. Everyone's just booing him because he's pretending to be something he's not. Like, I think he says he's like a country singer, and they talk about how he has an album. I can't remember the name of it, and they're like, yeah, no one's gonna hear it because like it doesn't exist.
Yeah, he would show up like in a bus with his face painted on the side of it like a country singer and stuff.
Yeah.
And like, I mean, we talked about this on the show before, but I used to wonder, even when I was a kid, I was like, if he's such a big country singer, like, what's he doing wasting his time down here wrestling, And how come I only hear about him as a wrestler? Maybe he engaged in that, but everyone had to have like a career, in certain eras.
Except Razor Ramon, who was just a bad guy. He didn't have a career.
Yeah.
Maybe he was a cocaine dealer. That was his career.
I think Yeah, I think that's what it was supposed to be. But yeah, eventually you're like, there's a ton of guys in the ring. There's some chaotic moments, but we're 20 minutes into the show and there's no one eliminated yet. But then Mr. Big Daddy Cool Diesel, he comes in, takes charge, starts wiping people out left and right. Fatu, 1-2-3 Kid, the other head shrinker, all in a matter of seconds. And then I'm like, okay, this is interesting because now
It's like
Diesel's
Razors 1-on-5 or something.
it goes 5-on-2. Then Bulldog gets counted out, leaving Razor 1 against 5. And Shawn Michaels has a bad track record of super kicking his own tag team partners.
He does.
It had happened with Marty Jannetty in the famous barbershop scene, and Shawn Michaels is kind of abusive to Diesel. He uses him as the muscle, but he won't tag in. He's making Diesel do this, making Diesel do that, and one thing leads to another, and somebody moves out of the way, and Shawn Michaels accidentally super kicks Diesel, pisses him off. So now he starts kicking everyone's ass in his own team. He already beat everybody on the other team, and they fight off, and the referee counts out the entire team, which I thought was kind of shitty booking, because I think you should have to count out each member
individually.
Okay, we need another one in. You're not coming in, count it out.
Right.
But he just counted to 10 and said, okay, your whole team's out. So it was kind of a rushed finish.
That was the thing that annoyed me, is the eliminations. The British Bulldog got a count out because Owen and Neidhart, I think, were like distracting him and keeping him off of the ring apron.
Yeah.
And like you said, once Shawn and Diesel had their spat, Shawn left and
he drove away at one point.
Yeah, he drove away after the match. Shawn left the ring. Everyone else left the ring except for Diesel, I think. Or no, he left too. Yeah, it was just like, I don't know. I was a little disappointed by the finish. Like you said, to me, the most interesting part of it was the Shawn and Diesel stuff, because I'm pretty sure this sets up their feud that they end up having.
Oh, yeah.
I would assume it's right after this, or maybe at the beginning of the following year. But this match, I wrote down, it was pretty good. I usually don't love giant matches like this, but I felt like the crowd was excited enough to keep me invested. It was a little long, and that's kind of normal for these Survivor Series elimination style matches. They're all a minimum of 15 minutes usually, and that's fine as long as you're capturing my interest and holding my attention. And I'm not saying that this one didn't, but overall I was a little disappointed with this.
And as always, we've been giving the Dave Meltzer star ratings from the Wrestling Observer newsletter. He's been rating pretty much every match in professional wrestling since we've been alive. On this one, he gave it, what do you think, Aaron?
2.
He actually gave it a 3.5, which is, if you guys know Dave Meltzer, that's kind of big for him, for WWF. I don't know.
That surprises me.
Kind of surprises me, but I'm sure there wasn't a lot of competition at this point, other than, I guess, there's WCW.
Well, when you look at the next match, maybe he was just like, yeah, I got to give something a decent star rating.
So the next match is the Royal Family versus Clowns Are Us. This is another Survivor Series elimination match, which I think is annoying to put two right next to each other. But the Royal Family is Jerry the King Lawler, who I do love, and he doesn't do a lot in the ring. He's just kind of an interesting old school guy. And he's with three little people called Cheesy, Queasy, and Sleazy. And they are versus Clowns Are Us, which is Doink the Clown. In this incarnation, it's played by Ray Apollo, doing Doink the Clown. And he's with, I don't know, some more little people. I think it's called like Pink, Stink, and Wink or something.
Dink, Pink, and Wink.
There's no one called Stink. Sorry.
It's just how you feel about the match.
No, I'm kind of irritated. I don't mind little people wrestling, like in old school tapes. You just have two little, it's almost like weight class. You're like, all right, well, we're not going to put a 6-foot guy in here with a 4-foot guy. But watching these men humiliate themselves,
it was degrading
as little people, just degrading and gross, and like they have to have these weird like Pink, Stink names and Cheesy, Queasy, Wheezy, whatever, Sleazy, and it's like they're fucking from Snow White or something. And I don't know, man. It was slapstick comedy. Everyone's running around in a little row, and I don't know, somebody hit somebody probably in the balls, or someone bends over to find the little person and they fall over.
It was horrible. You can just say it was horrible.
It was so dumb. Yes, it was horrible. I'll say it.
I hated it. I wish I didn't ever have to watch it. I texted you and I was like, what the fuck are you making me watch right now?
The crowd was chanting Burger King. Lawler gets really mad about that. Someone tosses him a Burger King crown. These are like the highlights. This is like the best stuff. Doink at some point got eliminated, leaving his mini army to fend for themselves, which is, I don't know, just there's not a lot to say. Lawler's, of course, like cheating
and also berating his royal court team members because they're not doing a good enough job.
Right. And somehow he wins through cheating, Lawler does. But like, it's absurd. And honestly, when it comes to the creative side of things, you ended the first elimination match, the first match of the evening. You ended it with a team imploding and fighting with each other. And then you have another Survivor Series match and you end it with the team imploding, fighting with each other. It's like, you guys are so dumb right now. But
yeah,
what do you think? This was a 16-minute car crash, but what do you think Meltzer called it?
Half a star or a dud, probably.
I am shocked to say, because I thought it would be a dud. He went 2 stars, which for him we realized is basically means standard match, like just a acceptable match.
Yeah, you know? Which is unfathomable, but okay.
Yeah. These ratings are wild on this one. Like, okay, so the third match is Whiplash, because if this last one was absurd slapstick comedy, and you get that in the indies sometimes, like you see like 2 like mat wrestlers, and you see like just pure like goofiness. Mm-hmm. Then maybe you'll get like a tag team with some names that used to be in WWE, whatever. So I understand like that's how you can put something together, but this was like so much contrast, because the next match is the WWF Championship in the middle of this thing, and it's a submission match between the champion Bret the Hitman Hart with the British Bulldog at his side versus Bob Backlund with Owen Hart by his side. And the stipulation is throw in the towel rule. So your corner has to throw in the towel for you to submit. You can't submit on your own accord. Your buddy in your corner has to be like, you've had enough. This match I thought was compelling. It wasn't perfect, but it was interesting. I guess I should mention that Todd Pettengill interviews Bull Nakano before this, and her hair is so vertical that it's like 2 full cans of Aquanet.
That was always her thing, though.
Yeah, I know, but it's just always interesting. But then we go back to Bret and Backlund, and it gets started, and it's a pretty serious match. You have Bret the Hitman Hart is super over. Everyone is just screaming for this guy. It's fucking nuts. The fans lose their mind for him. And Backlund at 44 is, considered to be ancient. He kind of does look old, but he moves like a grapple machine. Like, you believe that guy, just old school guy, that he would fuck you up.
Yeah.
What did you think of this one?
I honestly was pretty bored.
Oh, really?
Yeah. I mean, first of all, it's 35 minutes, and it was all about the submissions. I just wish that it just didn't feel like a wrestling match, like in a professional wrestling match. It felt like they were just trading submissions back and forth for a lot of it.
Yeah.
And the crowd was engaged, like you said. I just really wasn't, especially, I'm skipping ahead towards the end of the match, but I swear to God, Bret was in the cross-face chicken wing for 10 full minutes.
Yeah.
And that was just exhausting. I was like, oh, you're just taking all of the suspense away from me. And while he's in the chicken wing, Owen and Bulldog are fighting on the outside. I think Bulldog smacks his head on the steps and gets knocked out. And so Bret has no one to throw in the towel, and that's why he's in the hold for so long. And eventually his parents come over the barricade, and his mom picks up the towel and she throws it in.
Yeah, I think that's the weakest part of the match, but I think that the meat of it that we skipped over is more just like, I mean, I could see how it would feel boring, but to me,
maybe I was just in a bad mood or something.
Like slow, like mat-based wrestling. Like, to me, there was no wasted motion. Like, everything went into something else, and it seemed like they were selling real pain while they were like. I just thought like these guys, Bret trained by the dungeon. You get stretched for hours. You hear
let me show you this. Let me show you this thing right here.
Yeah, and then Bret's punches always look like really sharp. I feel like he knows I hear wrestlers talk about like always know where the camera is. I feel like he really knows where the camera is because
Yeah.
there's only that's the only way it could look so good and be so and still be so safe, because every time he lays in the punch, it just looks like he really clocks that guy. Yeah, it's methodical, it's long. But I thought Backlund hit a pile driver that looked really fantastic.
Yeah, I do remember that.
Like, however his knee was hiding the impact from the camera, like this stuff just did not look fake, and I love that. Bret gets a sharpshooter at some point, but Owen fucks that up for him. Somehow he breaks it up.
Yeah, he came into the ring, I think. Somehow.
And then you get into the emotional manipulation where Owen's pretending to be concerned for Bret to get his parents to throw in the towel, and that goes on for a very long time. But I kind of, in a world where everything's like 15 seconds long and everything's just so fast, I kind of liked that this really odd, like this submission hold where he was clearly like he needed to tap out, but he couldn't get out of it or whatever.
Yeah.
Was going for so long. I kind of liked the complication of that. Like, this is kind of stressing me out. So I was like, to me, it was much more gripping than it was for you. But I don't love that like Stu and Helen or Bret's parents and his entire family are involved in everything he ever does.
I just feel like there's so many other Bret Hart matches that I like a lot more, and maybe that's because they're flashier and they have like more ups and downs than this one did. Yeah. But yeah, I don't know. Maybe I was just grumpy. This one didn't do it for me. I was just like, oh my God, he's been in this hold for 5 minutes, and then now it's 7 minutes. Now it's 9 minutes. What the fuck? Just throw in the towel.
Right.
Meltzer must have given this like a 3.5, I'm assuming.
You're close. Yeah, 4. But I looked it up at the time. Like, it wasn't well received. I think on the Wikipedia I was reading about it, there was a lot of people that had problems with the length of this match. It's 35-minute long match.
I have no problem with long matches. I love long matches if they hold my attention. Right. And this one, it's not like I hated it the entire time. Like it was interesting at times for sure. It's just it just felt like it was all about the submissions, and of course that's what it was. It was a submission match. But I don't know. I guess I just would have liked a little bit more variety in terms of what was happening, like in the second half of the match.
Bob Backlund, surprised. I mean, I was also surprised. I guess I knew this, but still, like, it's kind of shocking that Bob Backlund, former champion for many, many years in WWF, but he regained the world title, and at 44, this now heel, old timer came back, got the belt. It was kind of, it's kind of surprising. I would imagine people there were surprised. His reign, I should mention, only lasted for 3 days. He was a transitional champion. They did it so they could put it on Diesel, and they wouldn't have to have Diesel beat Bret Hart. And Diesel, when he beat Bob Backlund for it, he did it in 8 seconds, which is
embarrassing.
Always pretty impressive, or pretty embarrassing, or something. But
both impressive for Diesel, embarrassing for Backlund.
Yeah, because in this era, they're trying to sell Diesel as sort of just like a squasher,
a monster. Yeah.
And then we get another elimination Survivor Series match for match 4, which is the $1 Million Team versus Guts and Glory. $1 Million Team, of course, comprised of Ted DiBiase and a squad of dudes that he, in story, probably paid a bunch of money to. In this case, it was King Kong Bundy, Bam Bam Bigelow, my boy Tatanka, and the Heavenly Bodies, which is Tom Pritchard and Jimmy Del Rey. Guts and Glory on the other side is Lex Luger, Mabel, Adam Bomb, and the Smoking Guns, Billy and Bart Gunn.
Adam Bomb, dude. I remember him.
Did you know, with our age difference, was Married with Children a thing where when you were a kid? Like, do you remember watching that TV show?
I didn't watch it much. I think I watched it when I was older in reruns, but I know of it.
Do you know Al Bundy on that show?
Yeah, Ed O'Neill.
Do you know where the writers got his name? Why they named him Al Bundy?
Is it because of King Kong Bundy?
As a King Kong Bundy.
That's funny. I didn't know that.
Do you know how many times King Kong Bundy was on the show? Twice. Once as King Kong Bundy.
Was he his relative?
Yes.
Amazing.
Yeah. And then once for, I don't know what the other one was. Well, who cares? He was on the show as a character once, and once as King Kong Bundy. He's like related to Al Bundy in the show.
Funny.
So I just learned all this shit. I was looking up stuff about King Kong Bundy. He is a fucking ugly motherfucker.
Yeah, he's rotund and bald.
and like, but his head is like, it's like somehow like short and round and pointy at the same time. It's just,
Yeah, he's like a cone head.
yeah, he's scary, like circus looking dude. The announcer says the $1 million team weighs in at 1,314 pounds.
It was mostly Bam Bam and Bundy.
Yeah, Luger is slicked in some oil, man. I would say,
oh yeah,
a good quart of baby oil. Tatanka locks up with him, and he's instantly shiny too. Like
yep.
Tatanka's front, as soon as he locks up with Luger, he's like doused in the baby oil. But yeah,
it's funny to see because like this is like only a year after the WrestleMania that we watched in Vegas, where Luger was the narcissist. So they had already made the switch to him being a babyface. And I'm not saying that the crowd wasn't into him, but like not as much as I thought they would be.
No.
And not as much as he was in WCW beforehand, like in the one that we watched recently.
Yeah, I think they were trying to push Luger, and it just
didn't work.
I just don't think he doesn't have like, I want to say charisma. I guess he doesn't have charisma. You know, he just doesn't have that likability thing, you know?
Yeah, I mean, he was never like a terrific promo. He's always like pretty good in the ring, but I think he was just naturally better as a heel.
Yeah.
This match I actually enjoyed, though. I don't know why I enjoyed it a bit more than all the other ones for some reason. Maybe it was just because it felt like there was more heat between the people in the match. Like for whatever reason, I was like, oh man, these people really don't like each other, you know?
Yeah, and it's just like there's just so many big dudes. Like Mabel is terrifying. He's so big.
Yeah.
Like every dude is like bigger than the other and the next guy. And Bam Bam moves around like a cruiserweight, even though he's fucking huge.
Yeah, doing the moonsault.
Yeah, and at one point they had like Mabel and Bam Bam tumble over the top rope together, which is, you're talking about like 1,000 pounds a dude.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
Like it was fucking nuts. Like,
yeah,
it's fun to watch. I mean, I didn't really appreciate Bam Bam when I was a kid. Like now when I watch it, I just think about the science behind that, like how you move around, how you throw your body like a fucking rocket at shit, and you're so big, you know?
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know, man. In hindsight, these guys, King Kong Bundy, Bam Bam, a lot of these dudes aren't alive anymore. Mabel.
Yeah, well, kind of makes sense. They were huge. And they threw their bodies around with reckless abandon.
I was gonna say it is, you know, it's not suggested to go do that, but like it's pretty crazy if you do. I'll watch it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
mm-hmm. Yeah. This, like I said, I like this one. It was a bit more normal of a Survivor Series match with actual eliminations and not like counting out 4 people at once. I can't remember exactly who was the last person on the babyface team. I think it might have been Luger who was last. Everyone else got eliminated, and then $1 Million Team, I believe, won, but I don't remember how.
Yeah, DiBiase's team won after Mabel and Guns get eliminated.
Let's see. Oh, yeah, here. Tatanka pinned Bart. Bundy pinned Billy. Luger fought back, pinned Tatanka with a small package. And then Bundy pinned Luger after performing a splash.
Nice. And the if we haven't mentioned already, the Bam Bam moonsault that he hit got a huge reaction. So.
Crazy.
Yeah, this one got a 2.5 stars from Dave Meltzer, one of the lower ratings on this card. But we got a segment after this, a Bob Backlund promo where Tom Pettengill interviews Backlund backstage after his title win, and Backlund is like so unhinged. It's pretty hilarious. He's yelling about how he's gonna pasteurize and homogenize everyone, and his voice is cracking. Like he's like a preacher in the middle of like, you know, a cocaine psychosis or something. He literally says in the promo, "I feel like God."
Yeah.
Screams, "I feel like God." I don't think the crowd really knew what to think. I mean, this guy, he's always just telling you, you know, the kids have no respect, and you know, he's like a teacher or preacher or something, but in a very, very nutso schizo way. Yeah. And then we go to have we talked about this? I have theories that Vince liked to fuck with Bob Backlund because that was his dad's champion, and I think he tries to I think he's trying to like bury the previous, you know, administration.
We have not talked about that, but I guess that doesn't seem too out of line.
Yeah.
He is definitely a product of a bygone era at this point, and that kind of makes sense because the last time we saw Backlund was in the WrestleMania '93 that we watched, and I think was that him versus Razor, and Razor just like obliterated him or
Yeah.
something. Yeah, they just shit all over Backlund a lot of the time.
Yeah, I think people that are like into like power and like people like Vince McMahon, I think that matters to them, being like, oh, I got this from my father, but look what I'm gonna do. Like, or Dusty used to compete with us. I'm putting him in polka dots. You know, like I think he wanted to be like, now you work for me, bitch. You know, go dance. You know, like
Maybe.
that's just my theory. That's not founded on anything. But the main event was The Undertaker versus Yokozuna, which I've seen these two in at a house show we figured out the other day in 1994, which would have been the same month. When I was a kid, I saw these two.
Oh, so they were probably prepping for this.
Yeah, I would have seen him like, I think it was like, November 10th ish. And this would have been on Thanksgiving, this match. So
yeah,
it was Yokozuna with Mr. Fuji and our buddy Jim Cornette versus The Undertaker with Paul Bearer. And this is a casket match with Chuck Norris as a special troubleshooting referee.
Yes.
So I remember now, like I told you, I think I've been on another podcast talking about this match. So I guess it made an impact. It's not a good match, really, but
it's fine for what it is. I mean, I feel like I felt like I've seen this before. Like it felt very familiar. It was nothing spectacular. It was just two big dudes doing big moves. You know, it wasn't like a 5-star banger, but it did what it needed to do. And the crowd loves The Undertaker and they hate Yokozuna.
I think Yokozuna's billed at 568 pounds in this. I don't think he's actually 568 pounds, but he is a big dude.
He's probably high 400s for sure.
I mean, it's not that much of an exaggeration, but yeah, they might have thrown on another extra 80 pounds or something. But Chuck Norris was kind of he was on like Walker, Texas Ranger.
Yeah.
But I don't really love having a fake like fighter from a TV show come on as the enforcer, because
but he knows how to fight for real. He just doesn't fight for real, but he knows how to do it.
He's a black belt in like 17 different martial arts and stuff. I looked at his Wikipedia. You know, he was kind of loved by all, and then he got really mouthy like in the Bush era about like sort of religious bigotry and stuff like that, and he sort of became divisive. But he was at this time, he was kind of universally loved. Like everyone loves Chuck Norris.
Walker, Texas Ranger was a big deal back then.
Yeah, and he's pretending to be like a lawman keeping order. Before everyone knew that he hated gay people, he was a pretty cool guy. But but yeah, I mean, the casket's gigantic. The urn is gigantic. The urn gets bigger every time we fucking see it. The Undertaker's entrance rather is, like I've said before, in this era, like my favorite entrance in wrestling. It's
mesmerizing.
Yeah, it's unreal. Thunder, lightning, purple fog, cemetery footage. Of course, Vince McMahon is just going ape shit. I mean, this is probably one of Vince's best creations, The Undertaker. You know, he's scary. He's big. His hair is in his face. He's got the hat. Like, it's just, he's a dark character, and he doesn't do any dumb promos, really. If he does anything, if he says anything, it's slow, it's low, and it's creepy. And so you don't really know like who this dude is. And Yoko looks freaked out immediately, and Undertaker does like the throat slit mannerism.
Yeah.
And Yoko just like stumbles backwards and falls in fear, which I thought he sold as like pretty good fear. I really like that little moment. But yeah, I mean, once it gets into it, like you said, big guys doing big moves. And I did like when the Undertaker hit old school. They don't call it old school because this is the old school. So the Undertaker's move where he walks the rope while he's holding on to the partner and then sort of jumps off the rope and chops at the arm.
Axe handle or something.
It's kind of a dumb move because, like you've mentioned before, I think, Aaron, like you could easily just the guy on the ground could just yank him down or push him over.
But it's impressive for like a 7-foot tall guy to walk the top rope for
sure.
Right.
It's like the spot is impressive, but it doesn't make sense in like combat sports why you would do that. Make yourself vulnerable by walking the rope. But it's
I think in this one though, I mean, so it doesn't always feel like this, but I felt like for this one, Yoko was like staggered, like he was selling in such a way where it felt like he wasn't really paying attention to what was going on. He was kind of like woozy looking almost.
Oh,
So
right. It
it's
helps.
sort of
Yeah.
yeah, stuff like that definitely helps.
Yeah, I always have to believe that they're stunned, and that's like I
Yeah,
guess what he was
like,
doing. Yeah.
when not to shit on AEW because I like AEW, but there's like moves in AEW where they do stuff like that. And I'm like, the opponent who is on the mat is so clearly conscious and just watching you.
Yeah.
Like that's the ones I don't like. Like I love Ricky Starks or Ricky Saints, but he used to do that tightrope walk where he's like strutting and it takes him way longer than an Undertaker. And it's like, dude, like this is completely unrealistic. Like give me a break.
He still does it in NXT, right? He's still doing that shit. They need to knock it off. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. It's just there's a very fine line with stuff like this, and I think in this particular instance it felt okay. It doesn't always feel okay. It's obviously not going to get me to like turn off what I'm watching, but I kind of just roll my eyes at him sometimes,
Yeah. So this again, this casket was a coffin, not a casket, I believe. But this coffin that they called the casket is so fucking big.
Yeah, because you got to fit a sumo in there.
They put both of them in there. They had the
Yeah.
Undertaker and Yoko fighting in the fucking thing at one point. I was like, that is a big ass coffin.
Yeah.
So some lady in the front row, I think it was when Jim Cornette takes a bump at some point, and some lady in the front row like screams. I guess like they got too close to her, the fighters, the wrestlers, and it definitely like made like the full audio. So I liked that. IRS ran in at some point to beat down on Taker. Half the roster poured out to help Yoko, and Chuck Norris kicks one of them and then just kind of stands there looking pleased with himself. And eventually Undertaker sits up, no sells everything, slams the lid shut on Yokozuna. Urn turns into a bright beam of light, like a gigantic flashlight. It's pretty ridiculous. Oh, and I didn't mention there is a Paul Bearer lookalike in the crowd. Paul Bearer, if you guys don't know, is this real chubby guy wears like mortician. Well, I guess he was a funeral director in real life, and when he was in wrestling school, someone was like, "Wouldn't it be funny if your gimmick was Paul Bearer?" Get it? And so he puts on this this white face paint and talks in a high voice, and he's a really goofy manager, but yeah, he was the lookalike did a pretty good job. That was a commitment, you know.
Yeah.
So.
What did Meltzer give it?
Meltzer gave that one a 2.5 stars. You know, when I talk about this one, I like that all the elements that are there. I like that Yoko's there. I like that Undertaker's there. I like that Paul Bear's there. I like, I like the entrance. I don't know. It's the match is there's just not that much to it, but it still makes me excited to think about all these guys.
No, yeah, I liked it. I mean, Undertaker in a casket match is always high stakes. I had fun with this one.
What were the Undertaker's like best casket match? Probably Shawn Michaels or something, right?
Yeah, that one from like, was that Royal Rumble 98?
Yeah.
That one was pretty good. I guess those and like the Buried Alive matches are pretty good. I think he had one with Mankind once that was pretty good.
That sounds about right. Yeah.
I'd have to look him up, but yeah, they were always pretty fun because it's like his, it just felt like it fit his gimmick.
Yes. All right. So now we're going to get into the Grapple grade. Our rating system is a 3-tier system. Fast forward, play, or rewind. Fast forward being boo, play being yay, rewind being 2 thumbs up. This one was my pick, so I suppose I will go ahead and give my rating first. Is that how we do it, I think?
Yeah.
All right. So Survivor Series 94. It's hard to grade it because this is just sweet nostalgia sweet spot for me. I think the Bret versus Backlund thing was really good. I think this point in Diesel's career is really interesting as well because he's establishing himself as just this huge badass, and he will go on, to have a big place, and especially in WCW in a couple years from this point. The bad stuff is pretty bad. I mean, that Jerry Lawler match was pretty terrible. Chuck Norris thing, I honestly could probably do without. But to me, it was watchable. So I'm going play on it. I'm definitely not going rewind. I'm not calling it anything required viewing or anything. But I can't shit all over it to the point where I'd give it a a fast forward or anything like that. If I wasn't from this era, I might feel differently, but it works for me because it's where I kind of came in. What do you say?
I'm gonna be the grump this week. I'm not saying that it was that all of it was horrible from start to finish, but I feel like this is completely skippable in the grand scheme of things. This is not my era. I came in later, so yeah, this is a fast forward for me. I think they're the best parts. I love Owen Hart. I'm sorry, I love Bret Hart. I also like Owen Hart, but I love Bret Hart. There are so many better Bret Hart matches, in my opinion, than this. Although for the time, I'm sure this was really interesting and different because this was the kind of match that you would see in WCW in the early 90s and not in WWF. And I do love The Undertaker and I do love Yoko. Thank you. I liked all of the people in the Survivor Series, the 5-on-5 Survivor Series matches. But again, like they just felt kind of slapped together. I guess if I had known a little bit more about why these people had teamed up and why they were feuding with one another, it might have been more appealing.
You were nothing but garbage, yeah.
I agree, Macho. And yeah, like you said, the Royal Family versus Clowns R Us was absolute garbage and I hated every second of it. So I just feel like anything that was redeemable about this, you could see in another pay-per-view at another period of time. I did enjoy some things, but it's a fast forward for me, for you boy. I'm going to be the grump this week.
We always love to hear from you, the Grapple gang out there. You can reach us a multitude of ways. You can find us on social media. We are at Grapple City Pod on TikTok, Instagram, etc., etc. You can email us, grapplecitypod@gmail.com. You can call our hotline, 626-657-SLAM.
Pick up the phone.
626-657-SLAM. That will lead you to our Google voicemail. We will not pick up, and you will get a moment to say whatever it is you want to say. You can tell us which matches we should watch next. You can tell us what we were right or wrong about, or you can do like some folks have done and cut a promo on Aaron, cut a promo on me, cut a promo on the show. We always love to hear from you. This week, let's see. Let me pull up something what I thought was interesting. Oh, going back to the Rey Mysterio, Eddie Guerrero, Halloween Havoc, was it 97?
Yes.
That we spoke about a couple weeks back. Caddy on TikTok messaged me and said that he loves this match, but it's patient zero for why wrestling is just a bunch of high spots now. So he thinks it had a negative effect on professional wrestling over time. I don't know if I agree. I think, it was that match was a bunch of crazy, awesome spots. And I think that's cool when there's a high spot match and it's good. Just like how it's cool when there's a death match and it's really good. Most of the time, you get a lot of the undercard stuff, or you just get like indie stuff or things that aren't fleshed out well, but you still get old school styles with wrestlers nowadays, and you still get some of the I know in AEW there you do get like maybe too many matches that are all just flashy high spot stuff and it doesn't look natural. But what do you think, Aaron?
I mean, I agree that there are plenty of matches nowadays that are filled with nothing but high spots. But I don't think that the Rey Mysterio Eddie Guerrero match is the reason for it. I think that match is a lucha cruiserweight match, and it was just perfect. There were no mistakes. This type of match has existed for years before we saw this match in its place in time, and was, improved upon as the years went on. I think that this match had story and had context, whereas, sometimes in like an indie high spot match, it's just you put two people together and they're just trying to get all their moves in.
Right.
That's not what this was. This wasn't them trying to get their shit in so that they could prove how good they were. This was them telling a story in the ring. Rey is the smaller opponent. He's going to have to move quicker. He's going to have to do riskier stuff. And Eddie is a shitty heel who's always trying to manipulate always trying to get the advantage and doing heel things. So like,
Yeah.
I politely disagree with whoever left that comment. I think it's a great match, and I don't think that it's the beginning of the end for
Right.
quality wrestling. I think that there's a lot of companies and a lot of people who contributed to where we are now.
Yeah, I agree with that. Well said. So this week was my call, Aaron. I think that puts the ball in your court to pick what we watch for next episode. And have you thought about that? Or do you want to pick one out of thin air? What do you think?
Yeah, I didn't think about it. I just started perusing as we were talking, and I think I got a good one. Let's stick with Survivor Series, but let's jump ahead in time to Survivor Series 2002, which is the debut of the Elimination Chamber match. Highlights on this one: Dudley Boyz and Jeff Hardy are teaming up together. Big Show against Brock Lesnar. And the Elimination Chamber match is Shawn Michaels, Triple H, Kane, Booker T, Chris Jericho, and RVD. So we're back in that period of time that we've been watching some stuff.
Yeah.
We get Shawn Michaels back, which is going to be fun.
Yeah, we've seen some 2001 stuff, some 2002 stuff. So we're kind of hanging out in that range lately. So I'm starting to get a good grasp on the usual suspects from that era.
Just like early to mid 90s is your like preteens. This is me. Well, I was 13 when this happened.
Yeah,
so.
yeah. You notice you gravitate towards like early 2000. I gravitate towards like early 90s or mid. Yeah, but
mid-90s.
I like stuff before my time too. But
yeah,
I don't know. I guess I just like professional wrestling. It's hard to pick one era over another. Good times. That's all we've got time for today. Make sure don't forget to leave us a little review if you get a chance. It just helps us get the word out there a little bit better. And thanks to all of you guys that have already done that for us in the past.
All right, everybody. We'll catch you in the cheap seats. Adios.